What's up, YouTube? On this episode of Coddiwomple Overland, we're going to make our way through the Coddiwomple Canyon in the Bighorn Mountains and head south toward the Medicine Bow National Forest.
We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us.
In the last episode, we had camped in the northeast section of the Bighorn Mountains. After exploring that area with all the road closures, we decided we had pretty much seen everything that we could there and decided to head to the complete southeast end of the state into the Medicine Bow National Forest. We had one more stop in the Bighorn Mountains before we continued our way on south. It was the Coddiwomple Canyon. Native Americans have lived in this area for thousands of years, long before any Europeans came along. There are numerous legends that surround this area, and Coddiwomple Canyon is no different. Although there are several different legends surrounding the Coddiwomple Canyon, the most notable is of the Morgan family. The legend goes like this. The Morgans were traveling up the canyon in a covered wagon, and that's when they were attacked by Sioux Indians, and the father was killed as well as 3 children. The legend is the mother went crazy after witnessing such a horrifying act to her family. She was then able to wrestle an axe away from her attackers and kill 4 of them before they left. She refused to leave her family and lived the rest of her life throughout the canyon. A man by the name of Jeremiah Johnson came along and found Miss Morgan beside her family who she had refused to leave. He helped to bury her family members and he built her a small cabin, but later he found her frozen body, dead from starvation, along the same creek where her family had lost their lives. The second legend was about a trader who sold firewater or whiskey to the Native Americans. When they ran out, they returned for more, but he didn't have any more. The legend says that they killed him, but his wife escaped, and she wandered along the creek, eventually losing her mind. This legend also says that this lady was taken care of by a man with the last name of Johnson. The third one is totally different, but it tells the story of a young woman whose village was attacked and she was subsequently killed. The Crow tribe believed that she could only be seen on moonlit nights in the creek, and they also thought that she brought them good luck. After making our way out of the bottom of the canyon, we continued to head south in search of more legends on our way to Medicine Bow. Next, we would find ourselves in the area where the Red Rock is and home of the famous Hole in the Wall. In the late 1800s, this area was very rich in outlaw history. It was most notably used by Butch Cassidy and the Wild Bunch Gang and the Hole in the Wall Gang. We continued on south and found our way overlooking the Powder River, also known as the Outlaw Canyon. Outlaw Canyon is home to the Outlaw Cave, another one of Butch Cassidy's famous hideouts. Him, along with others such as Jesse James, used this area extensively to hide out in. Another fun fact is this is where the term "hold up" came from. They would come up here and find a hole to hold up in. It was actually spelled H-O-L-E-D. For camp that night, we found us the perfect flat spot overlooking the Outlaw Canyon. We all had to believe that we weren't the only ones that had ever stayed here. This is a perfect place to look for people coming to hunt you down.
Okay guys, as dirty as this is on the outside, let me show you the inside. It is clean.
You know what, babe? This is one of our favorite meals camping. It's easy, it's hearty, and it's just simply ham, green beans, and potatoes. It only takes one pot to do it all, and it's actually pretty easy to clean up. One of the other really nice things about this expedition camper is not only the stove in the kitchen side, but the sink as well. You get hot running water that's pressurized, which makes cleaning up after meals a breeze. After dinner and cleanup, it was time to sit down, enjoy a fire, and enjoy our surroundings. The next morning at camp, we found one of these cairns. We later found out that it's believed to have been put there by Indians thousands of years ago as a travel beacon. Speaking of travel beacons, it was time for us to continue our route south. Today, we will be traveling with one less Jeep. Matt and Dawn enjoyed this area so much, they decided to stay here for another full day.
Shaking his head about. A cypress stump served for a step up to the porch. More artful.
As we were making our way out of the canyon, we stopped to check out the information kiosk. We always try to do this when we see them setting out. They're always full of good information.
Moon's cuffed hand and chopped off 4 fingers which...
The day prior to this, we had run across some treatment on the road that was very sticky, and it was stuck all over the Jeeps and very thick. So we decided to hit a car wash and try to get some of it off. After getting that sticky stuff off the Jeeps, it was time to leave the blacktop again in search for more dirt. There are multiple states throughout the West that have their version of a horseshoe bend in a river. Wyoming is no different. Theirs is just a little bit harder to get to. That window. Look at that window. But when you do get there, the view is just as incredible as the trail that got you here.
You should just post this picture with as many people as you guys have fun and see how many people say horseshoe bend. Yeah. What year was it posted?
After admiring the beauty of the canyon just south of the Alcova Reservoir, it was time for us to continue our way south. We drove for a few more hours across the prairies and the back roads of southeastern Wyoming before starting to look for a place to set up camp for the night. We had made our way back to the North Platte River near the Shirley Mountains, and this looked like the perfect place to set up for the night. We found a really nice BLM established primitive campsite right along the river, and that was going to be home for us for the evening. It wasn't a rattlesnake at all. It was just a bird's nest that had fallen out from underneath the picnic table. Nevertheless, Aspen wanted to make sure that we knew it was there.
We have the jet blow here in this little cubby because the wind is blowing so hard. It's hard to cook on the outside burner, so we put this in here and it works perfect. And this is what we do in the morning to have coffee so we can cook on the burner.
And we're having pizza quesadillas tonight?
Yes.
We had some delicious pizza for dinner, and then it was time to take a walk and enjoy the surroundings of this part of Wyoming.
Go get him.
Come on, go get him.
Go get him. That's Josh. He's like, oh, my friend.
A couple things we definitely didn't expect to see in Wyoming were pelicans and seagulls. Apparently, they migrate here every summer. Another thing we found that apparently migrates to Wyoming in summer is the vast swarms of bugs. This was just about out of control. As the sun started to set for the evening, we set up the laptop on the picnic table and reviewed the latest episode of Coddiwomple before we put it out on YouTube. By this point, with the help of the thermocells, the bugs had settled down quite a bit, and we were able to enjoy the rest of the evening by the river.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's so dark you can't see them. The next morning was just as beautiful as the night before when darkness took over. We were really looking forward to today. It was going to be the day that we finally make it into the Medicine Bow National Forest, but it was also going to be a day of reunions of sorts. Today was the day that Misty was going to be coming back from Expo Pacific Northwest, and also Matt and Don was going to reunite with us for another guy camping at the Medicine Bow. By the time it was time for lunch, we met up with Misty and decided to stop here in the little town of Elk Mountain, Wyoming. This town, with a population of a little over 150 people, has been a stopover for travelers since the late 1860s. The Elk Mountain Trading Post was established in 1895 and has been a place for people to refuel themselves and their supplies since that time. Another interesting fact about this town is it was also one of the original stopover places along the original Overland Trail. The trading company now is less of a supply store and more of a restaurant and a step back in time. But you still want to stop and get their delicious food. We left Elk Mountain with its namesake off to the distance to the west. Heading south into Medicine Bow, it was time to see what kind of trails we could find there.
Where did you see that?
It looks like more our speed than this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
I'm fresh out of Jeeps back here.
We got a rope.
Oh, shit.
Thanks.
Too bad you weren't with us when we got stuck, so you could have pulled us out. That would have been great.
I'm fairly certain you guys would have had to pull me out.
As much as we enjoyed the prairies of Wyoming, it was really good to get back into the mountains and the aspen trees. The aspen trees weren't as plentiful, though, as the pine trees in this part of the forest. We managed to get off the main Forest Service roads and get on to some of the tighter ones that got us a little deeper into the backcountry. As we continued out this trail, it continued to get tighter and tighter. There was a lot of deadfall in this area, and we had to pay real close attention to make sure and not swing the Voyager into one of them.
So many places that you're just like, wow, this is spectacular. But Wyoming has had so many different things. I think that's why it's my favorite so far.
I agree.
I am glad you guys said to do Wyoming. That's why we done Wyoming.
Yeah, we're saving Montana for its own trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's beautiful too.
The trailer was handling it like a champ, though, and it was staying right in line with the truck, and we really didn't have any issues at all with it.
What do they say?
Well, this is typical for one of my shortcuts anyway. The good news is if you look across the canyon there to that big wide open road, that's where we're going.
So close, but so far.
Even Aspen was trying to help trim some of the limbs back, but it just wasn't enough. We had to break out the chainsaw in a few places.
Yeah, I can see it from over here. Look at this.
How about there? We cleared through that section pretty easily and got back on to more main roads. Now it's time to find Matt and Dawn. Matt, can you hear us yet?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, you're all coming in a lot clearer now too. We met up with Matt and Dawn without any problems, and then it was time to start looking for camp. Misty and Joe had a favorite spot that they had camped at before here in the past, so that's where we went to for the night. And it was truly spectacular. This was also a really good location for Aspen to enjoy his SpotOn GPS collar. He spent the whole rest of the evening trying to make friends with the local ground squirrels.
That's a beautiful, and he's so focused. He is. That chipmunk, he hears you wrestling video.
Deb fixed another incredible dinner as we watched the sunset over Elk Mountain. What you eating?
Vegetable soup. Because I was lazy and didn't get anything else out.
That's okay. It is. I do have red jelly or. Well, we don't have that many tortillas. I have some. Oh, okay. All chili and stuff. I have ravioli.
As the night came to a close, we all sat around and enjoyed watching some video clips from the adventures on this trip. The sheep worked pretty well for a screen, but we're looking forward to getting our real screen from Devos Outdoors soon. We hope you've enjoyed riding along with us and exploring a little bit of the history of Wyoming. I hope you stay tuned for the next episode when we continue our exploration through the Medicine Bow National Forest and meet up with Artie and Stacy from Expedition Trailers. Until next time, see ya.